She lived as a mute for 8 years, the shocking truth revealed by the Alpha King at midnight. In the dim flickering light of the old town square, whispers danced through the air like restless spirits, a cacophony of disbelief and horror. 8 shocking years. 8 years of silence, wrapped around a young girl named Alara who vanished into the shadows without a trace. How could anyone, especially the daughter of the Alpha King, just fade away? The townsfolk had their theories, each more ridiculous than the last: an ancient curse, a dark spell, or maybe just madness. Yet, the truth was far more chilling on moonless nights. An eerie chill swept through the streets, carrying with it the hushed secrets of those who dared to speak of her. What haunted Alara's mind during those long sleepless nights? Was it fear? Remorse? Or the shattering realization of her own silence? People said she could still hear the whispers, biting through her resolute silence as if they bore her name. And when she returned, it was not as the girl they remembered, but as a living ghost. Her gaze held the weight of the world, a quiet storm of unspoken words trapped behind sealed lips, that a strange scent wafted through the crowd like a desperate call, strange yet familiar. What was it? Fear? Hope? Or an echo of pressing urgency? A sharp gasp cut through the tension as she stepped into the light, her skin glistening like porcelain under the harsh glare of lanterns. Eyes followed her every move, burrowing deep into the marrow of their disbelief. Gasps erupted here and there. "Who was that?" someone asked, voice trembling, the collective anxiety palpable in the air thick as fog. But as the clock struck midnight, Alara raised her hands, fingers trembling as she motioned for silence. Her eyes darted to the shadows, revealing something stirring beneath the surface, something waiting to be unleashed. Then suddenly she spoke. "I wasn't alone," the crowd gasped, anticipation electrifying the air. "Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect." As those chilling words hung in the air, the questions flooded back. Who was with her? What dark truths had she uncovered? As a heavy silence fell, a brother's face twisted in concern, and the eerie reality clung to their hearts. They had no idea what lurked beneath her silence or how deep the darkness went. The night felt alive with unspeakable secrets, and as the figures shifted in the shadows, a sense of dread began to seep in. What if her return wasn't just the unraveling of a mystery, but the awakening of something far more sinister? The words hung heavy in the air, a palpable weight that pressed on Alara's shoulders. The crowd shifted nervously, stealing glances at the inky shadows that danced just beyond the flickering lantern light. She could feel the eyes of her brother, Kale, burning into her, a mixture of fear and hope reflected in his gaze. "Alara, what do you mean?" he whispered hoarsely, as if afraid that raising his voice would shatter the fragile truth she was about to unveil. Suddenly, a howl echoed from the depths of the alley behind them, a sharp sound that cut through the tension like a blade. The crowd jumped, instinctively backing away, their breaths coming faster. The darkness seemed alive, and for a flicker of a moment, they could have sworn they saw glimmers of eyes staring back at them from the shadows. The air crackled with unspoken fears, and a ripple of confusion spread among them. Alara's heart raced. "I'm not alone," she repeated, but this time her voice was stronger, more determined. "They are with me. I saw them." "What? Who?" a voice broke through, filled with rising panic. The crowd was restless. They were frightened, and fear had a way of igniting paranoia. "They," she stammered, her hands trembling once more as she gestured wildly towards the alley. "They showed me things. Dark things, truths hidden away in shadow." Gasps erupted, drowning out the sound of distant howls as a figure stepped forward from the throng of onlookers. It was old Mara, the village seer. She had spent decades warning them about the dangers of delving too deep into the woods that bordered their home, claiming that they were the gateway to an ancient evil. Her frail figure was hunched, but her eyes sparkled with a fierce light. "Child, you must not play with forces you cannot control," she cautioned, a tremor in her voice that belied her determined expression. Ilara felt her breath quicken. I don't care what you think, Mara. I've seen it. I've seen what lurks in the dark. The creature that wears the guise of a friend. A wave of confusion passed through the crowd. Was this madness? Was she truly the same girl they remembered? The once playful child had returned as a vessel of darkness and despair. They want to break free, Ilara continued, each word trembling with urgency. Those trapped souls, they crave to be free. They're angry, and if we don't listen, they'll come for us all. The crowd erupted. We should send her away. A voice rang out. She's cursed. No, Kale shouted, stepping protectively in front of his sister. You don't understand. She's telling the truth. We can't ignore what she's been through. But with each passing moment, the murmurs turned into cries. Chaos danced in the square, and all eyes turned back to the shadows, the dark heartbeat of the night. Then came a sound, a low growling growl that rumbled from the depths of the alley. It was mixed with the unmistakable sound of distant laughter, a haunting echo that sent chills racing down spines. What was that? Someone managed to croak out with wide eyes. Ilara said slowly, they're coming suddenly. The ground trembled as if the earth itself had been disturbed, causing everyone to stagger back. The lanterns flickered violently, shadows swirling into chaotic shapes. Fear tightened around their throats like a noose, and that moment, as the darkness surged forward, a single thought pierced through the mist of panic. What had Ilara truly unleashed? And just as the shadows lunged, something within Ilara stirred, a force she had not yet come to comprehend. Would she have the power to control it or lead them all to destruction? The last shriek of terror echoed through the air as she took a resolute step forward. It's time to confront what's been unleashed, but as the shadows looming closer began to stretch towards her, the lines between guardian and monster blurred. What should she do now that the darkness craved her? The shadows twisted and curled around Ilara, drawn to her as if she were some dark beacon. Every heartbeat thundered in her ears, drowning out the cries of the villagers. She could feel their fear mingled with doubt, like a thick fog pressing against her skin. Stay back, Kale shouted, pushing through the throng to reach her. But the crowd was frozen, minds racing with terror. Do you see them? Ilara cried, her voice rising above the chaos. Those that are lost. They're here. They promise to help, but you must trust me. Trust you? A man shouted, his face pale, eyes widened in horror. You're speaking madness. The growl came again, louder this time, everything around them vibrating with dark energy. Panic spread through the onlookers like wildfire. Ilara felt it, too, the weight of fear thickening the air, making it hard to breathe. Listen, she begged, tears prickling her eyes. This isn't just about me anymore. It's about all of us. A flash of movement caught her eye. From the alley's mouth, a figure emerged, tall and cloaked in shadows, yet unmistakably humanoid. A gasp echoed through the crowd as they recoiled. Who dares summon the abyss? The figure's voice rolled like thunder, low and echoing. It resonated deep within Ilara's chest, shaking her resolve. The crowd parted, fear knitting their brows as they struggled to comprehend what stood before them. The figure took a step forward, the darkness swirling around it, revealing a face that was hauntingly familiar, twisted with an unsettling smile. Ilara, it spoke, its voice smooth as silk and sharp as glass. You've roused us from our slumber. We could finally be free. Who are you? Kale shouted, stepping protectively in front of Ilara, bracing against the looming darkness. The entity leaned forward, the light from the lanterns flickering erratically. I am the whisper of forgotten dreams, the shadow in your hearts, it replied, each word wrapping the night tighter around them. And soon I'll be your savior. All I need is your sister. A wave of dread coursed through Ilara. No, I won't let you take her. Kale shouted, his voice fierce, a shield against the encroaching dread. Take her? The figure laughed, a sound that crawled under their skin. I come to offer her power, to unleash what has been waiting. You think I'm a monster? No, dear Kale. I'm her ally if only she will accept me. Ilara's heart raced. Power. Was that what the shadows promised? Flickering images of domination flared in her mind, visions of placing the village under her command. But, with every temptation, she felt the pull of something darker, a grasping greed igniting deep within her. The ground quaked violently again, the shadows rolling forward like a tidal wave, dragging the crowd back in their terrified confusion. Kale turned to Alara. Desperation etched across his features. Alara, fight it. You're stronger than this. I don't know what to do. She sputtered, fear and longing battling within her. What if I can't? Then we're all doomed, he exclaimed, his raw emotion striking through the chaos. Perhaps the shadow figure interjected, but every soul has a choice. Embrace what is within you, Alara, and we will elevate you beyond the pain. The crowd gasped collectively, some moving to flee, others frozen in place, unsure if they were watching a miracle or a nightmare unfold. Alara. Kale's voice broke through the tumult, steady amidst the rising panic. You can't give in. You must remember who you are. But as the darkness coiled tighter, something deep within Alara began to resonate. The fear was mingling with clarity. She understood suddenly that she had the power to reshape her fate. The question was, could she resist the allure of the darkness? As she reached toward the looming shadows, resolve gripped her heart, but just as her fingers brushed their sinister edge, a blinding light erupted from her palm. The shadows recoiled, hissing in anger, but the deafening roar of the crowd drowned out everything. What had she unleashed in that blinding moment? And at that instant, Alara realized she hadn't just called forth darkness. She deignited something far greater, but could she control it or suffer the consequences? Light engulfed Alara, casting away the shadowy whispers that clawed at her mind. The radiance expanded, pushing back the swirling darkness, creating a bubble of warmth amidst the cold despair enveloping the village. She felt its power surging in her veins, pure, untainted and fiercely alive. The crowd fell silent, awestruck by the spectacle before them. Some shielded their eyes from the piercing brightness. Others stood frozen, mouths agape. What is this? The shadow figure hissed, its voice distorted by rage. You dare defy your nature? Alara took a shaky breath. I don't know who you are, but I will not let you hurt anyone. She could feel the strength pleading for release beneath her skin, like a tightly coiled spring ready to unleash fury. Kale's eyes were wide with hope now. That's it, Alara. Channel it. You have the light inside you. Use it. The entity's laughter echoed, but it was laced with fear. You think you can control the chaos, child? It will consume you. No, she shouted, her voice rising with conviction. I am not afraid of you. As the light intensified, Alara felt it mingle with her emotions, pain, fear, but also hope and determination. With a determined thrust of her arm, she sent a wave of luminescence towards the shadow. It collided like thunder, a shock wave of brilliance meeting encroaching darkness, creating a blinding surge. The crowd gasped, instinctively stepping back as the energy crackled around them. Some fell to their knees, drawn by the overwhelming force, while others shielded their eyes from the radiance that threatened to engulf everything. The shadow figure shrieked, a sound filled with agony and rage that made her bones shudder. You're a fool, Alara. You bind yourself to a power you cannot control. I offered you dominion and you choose vulnerability. But Alara felt the warmth. It was alive, it was real, and she would not let it go. You want control? I want freedom, she cried back, and with that affirmation she pushed forward, pouring every ounce of her being into the light that surged forth. The pulse erupted from her palms, sending beams of light spiraling into the night. They danced around the shadow figure, forcing it to retreat. Shadows twisted in protest, but they were met with radiant force that shattered their grip on reality. Kale stood firm by her side, eyes alight with admiration. You're doing it, Alara. Push it back. But the shadow shifted, morphing into a vortex that twisted and churned, a desperate retaliation. You think your light will conquer? I have been born from despair. I know your fears and weaknesses. The crowd held their breath, caught in the clash of titanic forces, Alara's radiance against the shadow's chaotic roar. And then in a heart-stopping moment, she felt the connection of those she loved, their hopes channeling through her. Their whispers of encouragement fused with her power, igniting a firestorm of defiance willing to consume the encroaching darkness. Alara screamed, I am not alone. The walls of her energy surged outward, a tidal wave erupting into the atmosphere, brightening the sky above. Then silence. A profound hush. When she opened her eyes, the world looked different. The shadows had receded, mere wisps curling away like smoke. But as the villagers blinked in disbelief, the figure stood at the edge of the darkness, solid and menacing. This is not over, little girl. What are you? Alara demanded, her heart still racing. I am your past. I am your power. You cannot escape me. The weight of those words pressed around her, the implications sinking in. Was this truly a victory? Alara felt a pang in her heart. What if the darkness wasn't truly gone, but merely lying in wait? As the villagers cautiously began to murmur among themselves, sharing glances laden with uncertainty, Alara knew the battle had taken a drastic turn. The shadows might not have been vanquished, only reeling. And deep in her core, she felt the darkness that was now part of her. Was there a way to wield it without being consumed? Alara's resolve hardened. I will find a way. But as she faced the village, hesitant faces looking back at her, one burning question remained simmering in her mind: could she truly control the chaos waiting just beneath the surface? A shiver ran down her spine as she heard the faint whispers of shadows calling her name once more. Alara's heart raced, the pulsating whispers wrapping around her like a fog. They felt familiar, tugging at the edges of her memory, haunting figures from her past. The warmth of her victory dwindled beneath a weight she didn't know how to bear. What do you mean I cannot escape? She said, her voice just above a whisper, urgency clawing at the walls of her throat. The shadow figure grinned maliciously, lips curling back to reveal hollow teeth. You think the light can purify you? Think again. You are a vessel of chaos just like me. A pulse of dread washed over her. Could it be true? The darkness within her stirred, hissing in hurried sync with her heartbeat. Was this shadowy entity merely reflecting the turmoil hidden inside? Kale stepped forward. What do you want? The edge in his voice could slice through steel. Leave her alone. Ah, the brave protector, the darkness hissed, turning its attention to Kale. But I am not your enemy. I am enlightenment. I am the truth that one must face to be whole. Alara clenched her fists, resolute. No, you're just trying to manipulate me. The shadow's laughter echoed around them, a sinister harmony against the flickering light. You think yourselves heroic, clinging to the flimsy notion of hope. But hope without understanding leads to despair, like a candle burning out in the night. The villagers shuddered, a collective gasp cascading through the crowd. She could feel their fear grappling with her own uncertainty. Each pair of eyes turned to her, seeking strength from the brink of this chaotic unraveling. Stand strong, Alara. Kale shouted, his voice a beacon. In that moment, Alara no longer felt alone. The shadows could whisper. They could hiss about her past. But she had an army locked in her heart. She thought of her mother's laughter, her father's embrace, all the love that had illuminated her darkest days. Let me show you, she said, voice steady, gathering the light so fervently burning within her. Let me show you what it means to face your fears. Suddenly, the radiant warmth surged, swelling inside her. It felt like wildfire coursing through her veins. With an outstretched hand, she summoned the very light that had defeated the darkness, this time to transform it. Bright bursts enveloped her, infusing the air as she focused on the shadows, particularly the figure at its center. It writhed under the force but also became still, drawn into her intense gaze. The fear around her dissipated, only to reveal the glitch of hesitation flitting across the shadow's face. You can't defeat who I am, it spat. No, she replied softly, but I can accept you. She felt something shift within herself, a tide of understanding unfurling like petals in a sunbeam. The light of compassion flowed through her like a river, purging the stones of resentment. You don't scare me. The figure faltered, caught in the collision of darkness and light, and that hesitation cracked the shadow's facade, revealing a flicker of humanity behind its menacing presence. As the villagers held their breath, astonishment dawning in their eyes, Alara could feel the darkness retract, shivering as if from a chill. Run, it hissed, suddenly desperate, slipping into the folds of shadows lurking at the edges like a retreating wave. This isn't over. I'll be back for you. For all of you. Hearing this filled her with a mixture of dread and hope. She had broken a part of that shadow, but it had slipped away, slinking back into the unseen corners of her mind. Could she confront her own fears, or would they re-emerge stronger than before? The villagers erupted into frightened murmurs, their gazes darting around. The aura of triumph felt fragile, splintered by the shadows of uncertainty. Kale stepped closer to Alara, who trembled as the whispers echoed one last time, softer but still haunting. We are never truly free. As night began to fall around them, Ilara felt an icy tremor of truth ripple through her. With every fleeting shadow, the lingering question emerged: how would she face the darkness that was hers alone? A chill settled deep within her as she looked out at the villagers, the shadows dancing beneath their feet. When would the battle come for her once more? Ilara felt the tension in the air like an electric current. The villagers, once a sea of support, now wore expressions of fear and confusion. The flickering flames of their torches cast long shadows, twisting and morphing as the night deepened. Each heartbeat echoed in her ears, thrumming with the weight of the shadow's threat. Kale's face was hard. The determination there was like a shield. "We need to regroup," he said urgently, glancing around the crowd. "All of you go to your homes. There's more at stake than just us." His voice dropped, a conspiratorial whisper. "The darkness knows where we are." Ilara could only nod. As she turned to address the villagers, doubt gnawed at her insides. Could she be the beacon of hope after all? Were they truly safe? "Listen to Kale," she called out, her voice cutting through the tension. "We survived this encounter together, but we must be vigilant." The crowd hesitated, eyes darting from Ilara to Kale, then back to her. Finally, like a wave retreating, villagers began to disperse, casting nervous glances over their shoulders. Kale remained by her side, and the silence that felt heavy. "What if it comes back tonight?" he asked, searching her eyes for reassurance. "What if it keeps coming back?" "I'll be ready," she promised. The uncertainty lingered in the air between them, thick as the shadows that persisted. But a flicker of determination ignited in her chest, something raw and powerful. She was more than the darkness that taunted her. "We need to talk to the elders," she said. "They might have insight. They've faced their own demons. Maybe they can help us find a way to confront it." Kale nodded, the hint of a plan solidifying in his mind. He took her hand, squeezing it tightly. "Then let us move before night fully settles in. I don't like the uncertainty hanging over us." As they made their way through the winding village paths, Ilara's heart pounded with a mix of hope and dread. She had faced the darkness. Yes, but what if it returned with vengeance? They reached the elders' hall, a space thick with history, dark wooden beams arching overhead. The air felt palpably charged as they entered. A few elders sat around the large circular table, faces lined with the wisdom and scars of their past, illuminated by flickering candlelight. "Elders," Kale began, his voice steady, but Ilara could sense the urgency in him. "We need your guidance. The darkness, it threatens us again." The oldest among them, Keeper Garen, raised an eyebrow, his eyes piercing. "Are you certain? It has been years since the shadows dared to breach our borders. What have you stirred?" Ilara felt her breath hitch. The blame hung in the air like mist, but she refused to hide. "I confronted it," she admitted. "But it's still out there, lurking, waiting for a chance to strike. We can't let our guard down." Murmurs rippled through the group, a mix of disbelief and concern. "What do you mean you confronted it?" one elder demanded. "How? A mere flicker of light won't hold it at bay for long." "I accepted it," she stated, her voice unwavering. "It's part of me. But I can't do this alone. We need a way to face it together." "Facing the shadows requires more than mere acceptance," Garen warned, leaning forward. "We each carry a piece of them within us. The question is, are you prepared for what the confrontation truly demands?" Ilara's heartbeat quickened. Pieces of her past hidden fears, buried regrets surfaced as she reflected on his words. "I have to be," she replied, feeling the walls of her resolve strengthening behind her words. Kale shared an uneasy glance with her, but then he drawled, "Trust us into luxury we have right now. Whatever it takes, we stand together." The elders placed their hands together, murmuring amongst themselves, the flickering light casting shadows that danced ominously along the walls. "Very well," Garen finally declared, his voice booming. "Prepare. You must confront the darkness head-on. But beware, what you uncover may haunt you in ways you cannot imagine." A shiver ran down Ilara's spine. "What does that mean?" she asked, dread pooling in her stomach. "Dark ones don't just vanish," Garen said ominously. "They fool and twist. You must face not just the shadow but what lies beneath." Every hair on her body stood on end. In that moment, doubt threatened to undermine her courage. What truths would she have to unearth? Would she unravel completely if she ventured too deep? As they prepared to leave the elders' hall, a chill swept through the air. more biting than the previous cold. Outside, the darkness felt thicker, as though it were alive, wrapping around the village, testing them. Kale suddenly stiffened beside her. "Alara, behind you!" She turned, heart racing, and there, just beyond the candlelight, a figure loomed, its eyes glinting like shards of glass. A shadow born from nightmares returned, whispering promises of chaos and despair. Alara felt her breath catch in her throat, the stark realization crashing over her. She had not simply to face her fears, but now she had to face this haunting manifestation once more. The battle had only just begun, and she was already standing on the precipice. Would she fall into despair, or wield the light that had pushed back the dark before? And as the figure stepped forward, the night deepened, spinning the air thick with anticipation. The real test lay ahead, and with it, the truth was about to be revealed. The shadow moved closer, its presence enveloping the hall in an ominous chill. Alara's heart raced as it stepped into the flickering candlelight. The figure was draped in tattered black, resembling the nightmare she had long tried to forget. Its eyes held an unnatural glow, reflecting her own fear back at her. Alara, it spoke softly, but the voice was laced with a venomous sweetness. "Have you come to play again?" "No," Alara shouted, her voice trembling, but she felt the weight of despair creeping in. "I want to let you take me." Kale moved instinctively between her and the shadow, fists clenched, ready for a fight. "Stay back. You don't scare us." The shadow chuckled, a sound that grated on Alara's nerves like nails on chalk. "Oh, but I do. You see, I'm not just a figment of your fear. I'm what you've tried to avoid all these years. Let us have some fun, shall we?" As it spoke, tendrils of darkness reached out towards Alara, an icy touch that sent shivers through her bones. Memories flickered to life in her mind, dark corners from her past she thought she had banished. Those moments filled with regret, that suffocating loneliness. "Remember this, Alara?" The shadow taunted, mimicking voices from her past, whispers of doubt and shame. "You can't escape what you are." "Alara!" Kale's voice broke through her reverie. He stepped forward, grabbing her hand firmly. "We can't let it win. Remember what the elders said. We must face it together." Her breath hitched as she locked eyes with Kale. His presence grounded her, pulling her away from the abyss that loomed near. "You're right," she whispered. "I want to give in without a fight." The shadow sneered, swirling closer, its form contorting with an unsettling grace. "You think you can fight me? I'm part of you, Alara. Every denial, every unspoken word, every fear, it's all mine to wield." "No," Alara shouted again, steel sharpening her voice. She remembered the promise she made to never back down. "You don't control me." Gathering her resolve, she focused on that flicker of light she had felt before. The spark of hope ignited within. She squeezed Kale's hand tighter. "Stand with me, Kale. I know it's in me, the light." Kale nodded, determination blazing in his eyes. Together. In that moment, a surge of strength flowed through them. Alara drew upon every ounce of that inner light, letting it swell beyond her chest, radiating outward. The shadow recoiled, hissing as the brightness pushed against the darkness. "Enough!" It screeched, its voice twisting. "You think light can defeat me? I will consume you both." Alara could feel the heat of its rage threatening to engulf them, but she wasn't giving up. "I accept you," she called out, the words heavy with truth. "I accept the darkness as part of me. I am not afraid." As if her declaration acted as a beacon, the glow intensified, melting the edges of the shadow's form. It writhed and screamed, an inhuman cacophony that echoed in the charged air. But as the light broke through, a new realization dawned on Alara. This wasn't just a fight against a dark entity. It was an unveiling. "Kale!" she shouted, "it's more than just fear. It's the hidden parts of our souls. What we bury." The shadow shrieked, flailing as the luminous energy expanded, illuminating the dark hall with a brilliance that cut through the thick air. Finally, it burst, sending ripples through the surrounding darkness. The impact reverberated, shaking Alara to her core. As the shadow dissolved into nothingness, a silence enveloped them. But just as relief began to wash over her, something shifted in the shadows beyond. A deeper darkness flickered into view, collecting itself, eyes gleaming like shattered glass amidst the gloom. "Foolish girl," a voice like rolling thunder rumbled from the depths of the night. "You've only revealed what lies beneath." Your battle has only begun. Alara felt the hairs on the back of her neck stand up as dread clutched her heart once more. Chaos loomed and a new threat had appeared. One even more terrifying than before. Are you ready for what comes next? Kale asked, his grip tightening on her hand, uncertainty lingering in his voice. Alara swallowed hard, knowing the path ahead was murky and fraught with peril. Could they brave this deeper darkness? Or would it swallow them whole? The night once again held its breath, waiting to see who would emerge victorious when the shadows fell once more. The air thickened with anticipation as the deeper darkness began to take shape, swirling ominously like a thundercloud ready to burst. Alara and Kale stood frozen, fear gripping their hearts, the moment stretching painfully. They had faced a shadow before, but this felt different, more potent, more alive. Alara, the voice echoed again, now resonant with an all-consuming power. Did you really think you could vanquish me so easily? You've merely scraped the surface of what lurks within. The chilling words reverberated off the stone walls, piercing through Alara's resolve. What do you want from us? She stammered, the weight of despair creeping back in. The darkness morphed, revealing twisted shapes, remnants of their past failures and fears. Phantoms of self-doubt flickered like candle flames, each a reminder of their vulnerabilities. Alara's stomach churned at the sight, memories clawing their way back into her mind. I'm here to show you the truth, it hissed. The truth you hide from. The truth that binds you both. Kale stiffened, his face displaying a mixture of concern and bravery. We won't let you manipulate us, he shouted, but his voice wavered just enough for Alara to notice. Ah, brave little fool, the entity sneered. But do you even know what you're defending? Alara felt the floor beneath her shift, the darkness swirling like a living thing. It felt wrong, as if the ground might just pull her in, devouring her whole. She steadied herself, recalling the light they had summoned. We've faced you before. Whatever you are, we can't give in to you. But the entity only laughed, a low, mocking sound that echoed through the hall. You think you faced me? It pierced through the air with a chilling intensity. You fought a mere shadow, a reflection of your darkest fears. But I am the truth. I am everything you struggle to hide. The pain, the hurt as it spoke, images filled Alara's mind, moments of weakness, isolation, the sensation of being crushed under the weight of expectations. She fought to push these memories away, but they rushed back like an overwhelming tide, crashing against her defenses. No, she wouldn't let it in. Kale, she cried out, pulling together the flickering fragments of her strength. We can't let it win. The ground trembled violently, and the figures of the past seemed to whisper dark secrets into her ears. You can't change who you are, they hissed, each syllable like poison dripping into her veins. Kale stepped closer, his eyes fiercely locked on hers. It's a deception, Alara. It has no power over us unless we give it that power. Together, she echoed back to him, feeling warmth ignite between them. With a deep breath, they stood side by side, drawing courage from each other. Alara felt a spark of the light reignite as they focused on their shared strength. We are not alone in this, she proclaimed, her voice steady, each word striking hard against the encroaching darkness. The shadows recoiled momentarily, but the entity's laughter grew louder, more malevolent. You think you can overcome me with this feeble light? You will only uncover more pain and regret. I will feast on your insecurities. Alara could feel the pulse of dread intensify, but she gritted her teeth, clenching Kale's hand tighter. What you see as weakness I will turn to strength. What you feed on will be our fuel. In that instant, the room exploded in a burst of brilliance, as they unleashed the unrefined light within. It surged forward, pushing against the darkness, illuminating the shadows and revealing specters that stood on the precipice of reality. Just as it seemed they might prevail, the darkness laughed once more. An earth-shattering sound that shook the very foundations of the hall. This is nothing, Alara. Your true battle looms ahead. As the fissures in the shadows widened, revealing what lay beyond, Alara's heart pounded in her chest, panic threatening to draw her under. What do you mean? She gasped, her voice cracking with fear. Perhaps something you didn't expect, the entity whispered, a smile lurking behind its words. Embrace your destiny and you may find the answers you seek, or will they lead to your doom? Caught at the edge of the unknown, a flicker of uncertainty crept into their hearts. The air crackled with energy, and a decision hung heavy in the balance. Can we survive this? Kale murmured. The question hovered between them, filled with the weight of looming darkness. As the shadows threatened to consume everything they knew, Alara took a determined breath, knowing that the answer lay within their fears, their hopes and whatever awaited them in the depths of the dark. The shadows pulsed aggressively, each swell of darkness threatening to engulf every speck of light. Alara's heart raced as she braced for what was to come. The air thickened, turning dense and suffocating like trying to breathe underwater. Kale, hold on tight. We fight together, she said through gritted teeth, her voice barely rising above the smothering weight. Kale nodded. His grip was firm, shaking with fear yet resolute. Whatever happens, we face it. Together. As they stood, the darkness twisted even more, morphing into a landscape of swirling shadows. Alara felt herself being drawn into a chasm of despair, a void promising absolution through surrender. It tantalized her with the sweetness of relief. Would it be easier to give in? Just let go? No, she shouted defiantly, her voice echoing through the menacing silence. The fading light between them flickered violently, a strobe of hope fighting against the inevitable. The darkness responded, a deep guttural growl surging through the hall. Foolish mortals! You cling to your false bravado while I can show you the true nature of your existence. Let me take you deep into your trials. Let me reveal what you truly fear. The shadows split apart, revealing vivid memories that swept over Alara like tidal waves. Her childhood laughter was snuffed out by piercing sadness. Moments of rejection, betrayal, and every time she had felt utterly alone, each played out as living nightmares before her eyes. No, you're lying. I'm more than these shadows. I'm stronger. Yet doubt clawed at her heart. Each sight hit harder than the last, like fists slamming into her resolve. Kale's face contorted in rage, batting away the specters that sought to unnerve them. What do you want, Shadow? Why do you keep coming back? Because you cannot escape me, it sneered. You'll always return to your fears. You are bound to your past, your pain, and soon you will see that the only way out is through me. It spread its tendrils wide, dragging in remnants of the past. Kale shook his head, determination glossing over his fear. Don't listen to it, Alara. We're not slaves to our past. The light, it's still there. Is it? It hissed. Then welcome to your truth. Suddenly, a rift opened in the darkness, like a door to another realm. Alara fell to her knees, jolted by a vision forcefully thrust upon her. There stood a version of herself, a hollow, aching figure burdened under the weight of invisible chains. I failed you, she whispered to her ghostly reflection, the weight of regret pinning her down. Kale stepped forward, his voice a shield against the encroaching despair. No, you have the power to change this. This is not your destiny. The shadow laughed, a cruel, sinister echo that sent chills down Alara's spine. Believe what you want, but every choice leads you back to me. Perhaps the chains you see are nothing more than truth you refuse to accept. With desperation rising, she focused on the flickering light inside, more powerful now than ever. It pulsed with every heartbeat, calling her. I want to be tied to this, she screamed, pulling Kale with her, feeling his strength surge through her. With a deep breath, they plunged their shared light into the gaping darkness. It was like igniting a firestorm. The darkness blasted backward, screeching as it fought against the onslaught. Enough! The entity roared, rage melding with fear. Before them the rift twisted, revealing glimpses of other fears yet unmade, hidden truths waiting to be unearthed. Each image flashed like lightning, tantalizing yet terrifying. Are you ready to embrace what lies beyond? Or will you succumb to your own shadows? Tension electrified the air, the confrontation building to an epic climax. Alara could feel her heart pounding against her ribs. What if it's a nightmare? She gasped, overwhelmed by the uncertainty. I'd rather face the nightmare than stay trapped in uncertainty, Kale urged, his gaze a beacon amid the dark. Their answer hung in the air like a delicate thread. They had to decide now. It was a leap into the unknown, a gamble against everything they feared. As the walls of the chamber creaked ominously, they steadied themselves, eyes locked. What awaited them on the other side of that shimmering threshold? Would it be freedom or a deeper darkness? Holding her breath, Alara took a step forward. On three then. 1, 2, but even as they prepared to leap, a heart-stopping realization flooded her mind. What if the truth is more horrifying than the shadows? Abruptly, the world around them darkened, leaving them teetering on the brink of both revelation and despair. The shadows swirled violently, filling the air with a darkness so thick it felt like a tangible shroud. Alara's breath came in quick, shallow gasps. She could feel the weight of the unknown clinging to her like a starless night, squeezing her heart with icy fingers. The urge to retreat battled against the fierce resolve boiling within her. Kale, she whispered, panic welling up. What if we're not ready for this? No more doubts. He replied fiercely, holding her gaze. His eyes were pools of unwavering determination. We've faced what we thought we couldn't before. We're stronger together. You believe that, right? His words sparked something deep inside her, a flicker of warmth igniting amidst the chilling abyss. Right, she breathed, a tiny spark of bravery fanning into flame. Together. As if sensing their unity, the darkness writhed in agitation, pulsating aggressively around them. Choose now, Alara. The shadow entity boomed, its voice a cacophony that rattled the stones of the ancient hall. Will you embrace the unknown? Or let fear conquer you once and for all? Together. She roared, feeling every ounce of Kale's strength bolstering her. We're facing this. No more running. With the shadows closing in, a surge of energy filled her, electric and fierce, as they both stepped forward. 1, 2, 3. Hand in hand, they leaped into the gaping maw of darkness, shattering the fraying threads of despair like glass. Light erupted from their clasped hands, a blazing entity of pure determination igniting the stifling air around them. The shadows shrieked, recoiling from the brilliance that now washed over everything like a tsunami of dawn. As they surged forward, a pulse of light filled their surroundings, illuminating a realm they previously only feared. Surreal landscapes emerged, vivid colors flooded their vision, portraying memories long tucked away. Love, laughter, loss. The moments that had shaped them began to unfold like petals caught in sunlight. I see it all, Alara gasped, awestruck as fragments of her past flitted like spectral butterflies. There was her mother's unwavering embrace, the thrill of running through sunlit fields, the bittersweet sting of friendships lost. See it, face it, Kale encouraged, lips pulling into a fierce smile. These are the truths we've been hiding from. The shadows were not just memories, they were lessons, warnings, a web that had kept her in chains. I see the darkness as a part of me, she murmured, realization dawning. But it doesn't define me. Suddenly, amidst the beauty and the chaos, darkness clung persistently. Alara. It wailed, its voice splintering, desperate. You can't escape the darkness. Let me consume you. I am your truth. We are more than our shadows, she shouted back, her voice echoing in defiance. We are the light that battles through the gloom. With Kale by her side, they drew the brilliance within, shaping it into a form of protection against the unraveling shadows. You can't govern us, they declared in unison, a proclamation shaking the very ground beneath. A pulse surged through the air, brighter than any sun, igniting the remaining shadows. Alara felt the collective strength of the village in her soul, everyone who had ever believed in her. As the darkness threatened to reform, it surged violently before collapsing into itself, dissolving like mist catching the wind. No, the shadow bellowed, fury ripping its voice as it was pulled in all directions, screaming in horror. You think you've won? With a final burst of brilliance, Alara unleashed every fragment of herself, the light, the hope, the acceptance. I've faced you, she declared. And I will face you every time you try to return. You are a part of me, but you will never consume me again. The shadows screamed, imploding into nothingness, the echo of anguish fading into the horizon as brilliance cascaded through the space they stood in. Slowly, silence enveloped them, a profound peace washing over the remnants of the darkness. Alara and Kale stood amidst the remnants of lost fear, panting, the warmth of light wrapping around them. Did it really work? Kale breathed, still processing the magnitude of what they had faced. Alara turned, her heart fluttering with a mix of relief and lingering uncertainty. I think we've tapped into something greater than the shadows. But we need to remain strong. They may try to return. In that moment of clarity, she understood that battling the darkness was an ongoing journey, a dance of acceptance, courage, and light. As they stepped back into the familiar Hall of Elders, emerging into a world anew, tentative hope blossomed among their community. Elders, Alara called, her voice firm. The shadows will try to return, but so will we. Together, Let us embrace the light and unearth our truths. Hearts surged with a mix of emotions among the villagers, gratitude glimmering as they looked to her for leadership. A symphony of rising courage swept through the town beneath the stars, as they united against the uncertainties of tomorrow. Together, Elara said again. But this time not just for her and Kale but the entire village. As night fell over the horizon they stood united, ready to meet the challenges ahead, knowing darkness would always lurk on the edges but now equipped with the light that lived brightly within them. That Elara's heart swelled, her gaze firm. We will not fear the shadows that dance in the night. We are the light ready to shatter the darkness. The farewell echoed warmly into the starlit expanse, and as the moon cast its glow, a future unfurled filled with light and possibility. Now the time has come for you too. You need to subscribe now to catch our next heart-stopping tales. Smash that like button now to help us feed the algorithm and grow. Flood the comments section below with your thoughts and wild theories about Elara and Kale's journey. And do not wait even one more second to share this with at least 5 friends who need to dive into this incredible story. Join us next time you want to miss it.